So, there we have it. That is all the news from Activision Blizzard. Now, listen, there was also, because every day is an apology day if you work for Activision Blizzard. But I don't know. I caught this drama tangentially across my timeline, and I'm just going to say this is silly, but they also did, and maybe I'll leave this in the VOD, maybe I won't, because it'll probably get me instantly demonetized on YouTube, but here you go. Yes. Activision had to apologize and remove a disrespectful Quran appearance from Call of Duty Vanguard. The publisher says it should never have appeared in the game. What do you mean? Activision apologized to the Muslim community for showing the Quran in a disrespectful manner in Call of Duty Vanguard. One of the zombie maps shows pages from the holy book lying on the floor with the phrase, "In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful," visible. Placing the Quran on the floor is considered disrespectful, so the inclusion of the pages led to complaints from some Muslim players. Now the Call of Duty Middle East Twitter account has posted an apology saying the content has been removed from the game. Call of Duty is made for everyone. The tweet reads in Arabic, "There was content insensitive to Muslims included in the game and it's been removed. It was not supposed to exist as it appeared in the game. We deeply apologise. We're also taking all necessary measures at this moment within the company to determine and understand the situation and to avoid such errors in the future." You know, I'm old-fashioned. Probably what should outrage my Muslim brothers and sisters around the world more about Activision Blizzard is the fact that they employ someone from the Bush administration that did inform their disastrous policy in the Middle East, particularly in Iraq, that did lead to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Muslim people. Just a thought. Maybe, you know, maybe the blasphemy thing's a little bit played out now. There's genuine grievances, friends. I'm there for them. Anyway. They'll be figuring out what happened. Oh, man. You know, sometimes, guys, I wish I had not gone down the esports cul-de-sac and just been the games commentator. Because... you know, we've lost so many good ones. You know, I kind of wish if I go back in time, 2010, 2011, I should have took the long, hard path to being a guy that made videos and doing games reviews and that sort of thing. That would have been much, much better, wouldn't it? Would have been a better future. Now, one other quick thing, and then I can see my my now divine ranked position 4 coach, coffee casts Dota, doesn't even cast anymore, just plays. So he'll be pressuring me to go and play Dota with him in approximately 30 minutes, which I'm going to do. I'm going to relent to that pressure. But why don't we talk about YouTube? We don't really talk about YouTube as much as we used to, did we? Or do we? So let's do that. I want to find the official video. I've got it up here. Sorry, anyone who knows me, who's seen my PC, I have the maximum amount of tabs open always, and that's how I remind myself about what I'm going to talk about on stream and stuff. Is this it? Yes. Okay, so that's 1. And hit that's 2. We've done it. Right. All we had to do was go to the YouTube blog. So, YouTube, right? This is ready for the video. Griff, boom. This is where it really starts, for real. So, you can leave that bit in. So, Yes, the YouTube, the old YouTubes, it's been going through a lot of changes, and some of you might remember the old days. I've done a number of videos on this topic and a number of podcasts about this. But back when the Orange Man, do you remember the Orange Man? Do you remember when we all lived under the tyranny of a very fascist Orange Man? Back when the Orange Man was in the White House, there was, you know, people wanted to know how he got there. It couldn't just be that people found the other candidate so repulsive, because who could describe Hillary Clinton as repulsive? Am I right? That actually, somehow, an overweight, boorish New York billionaire with fake tan and fake hair seemed a more appealing alternative. So we spent years, and I mean years, trying to figure out what went wrong. And we came up with this fictitious narrative that basically what happened was everyone who voted for Trump had been radicalized. Everyone who voted for Hillary was a good person and a good human being. But everyone who voted for Trump had been radicalized, and radicalized by the far right. They'd been lied to. They'd been deceived. And who had committed this deception? Well, it must absolutely be anybody that doesn't censor anything that deviates from DNC dogma. And so tech companies the last few years, who, by the way, not only are overwhelming Democratic Party voters and overwhelming Democratic Party contributors financially, the records are there. The episode of Enemy of the People I'm scripting at the moment, get this for a stat. This is true. You can look it up. In 2016, 96% of all journalists that gave money to the presidential campaign gave to Clinton instead of Trump. 96. No bias, guys. Nothing to see here. So anyway, most of these big tech companies were willing contributors to the, you know, the message. You know, we want to do your bidding, master. You know, we want to. But unfortunately, there's this pesky thing about, you know, allowing people to have free expression and, you know, express ideas that they're not illegal. They're just, you just don't like them. So we started to push this narrative that YouTube was radicalizing people and YouTube has radical content on YouTube. Now, funnily enough, not funnily, actually vile. The only radical content I can think of that's actually been on YouTube to a degree, that's sort of been clandestinely covered up and allowed to exist under the surface. As we found out back when we had the adpocalypse, again, I did a video about that. Again, I interviewed the guy that exposed all of that to the Wall Street Journal. Well, actually, there was two things. People were recruiting Islamic extremists openly in YouTube videos. Cool. And obviously as well, we had all that weird fucked up, oh, this is just a nice video about Spider-Man and, you know, Elsa from Frozen or whatever. And, oh, wait, what's this? Suddenly there's a video and there's a child in it and they're in a swimming pool. Sick shit, right? That YouTube didn't fucking fix until it was subject to big fucking reports. The media had to force their hand to fix that. It was there. They could have found it anytime they wanted. They didn't. Now, is unfortunately what the media really started to care about isn't child protection or any of those mere trifles. What they really started to care about after the Orange Man got into the White House and we were plunged into a fascist dystopia from which we're still trying to recover, what they cared about was, listen, if you watch a Ben Shapiro video and a Joe Rogan podcast, suddenly you're watching Milo Yiannopoulos or Alex Jones. Whatever will we do? Whatever will we do? You're being radicalized. Now, of course, none of that content would even meet the fucking degree of being radical. It's radically stupid, but that's about it. And so, anyway, that became this lie. There was even some data scientist that published some complete bullshit that had, you know, like 1 minute you're watching Ben Shapiro and then the next minute you're watching really radical content like H3H3 and you're like, wait, what is going on in this fucking world, dude? Like Joe Rogan being called the alt-right pipeline, unironically, in a supposedly scientific document. Get me the fuck out. But unfortunately, it was all the rage, and people were like, yes, actually, if you think about it, what happened in 2014 with Gamergate led to 2015 with Trump, the election of Trump. Steve Bannon, white nationalist mastermind, understood how to mobilize the gamers, the biggest of voting blocks, and this is how we get Trump and Putin, not to forget all of the fascist it's like, guys, none of this is real. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I actually was asked to go on Swedish radio, right? Because I'd said anyone who thinks YouTube has an algorithm that's turning everyone into white supremacists is mentally ill. And a Swedish news channel noticed this and said, would you be willing to come on and defend your positions? I went, absolutely. I think Sweden definitely needs to hear this message. So I went on and I chewed this woman journalist up. She was going, well, how can you say it's not radicalizing people? So, okay, well, how can you say it is? Can you explain to me what the radical pipeline looks what it looks like? And she was going, well, 1 minute you're watching Ben Shapiro. And I'm going, Ben Shapiro, by the way, an Orthodox Jew. And just couldn't be and it is subject to death threats by the alt-right. I'm not saying he's not a moron. You understand? I think he's a sort of comedic figure in my life, but I don't think he's radicalizing anyone. So anyway, I chewed her up, and I was just saying, like, can you direct me to any radical content on YouTube? And I was saying, like, the algorithm recommending you more of what you like is no different than being on any other website in this day and age. It's no different than Pornhub. Pornhub has the exact same algorithmic tendencies. Hey, did you look at this one thing? You'll probably like more of that thing. Netflix does that, right? I was a bit upset that on Swedish radio I cited Pornhub before Netflix, revealing myself to be a Kuma to the world. But it's all right. It was a Swedish radio station. I'm just gonna say I got away with that one. We'll all pretend that never happened. So anyway, it's just a lie. It's been a lie for the longest amount of time, and it's a lie that we all accept. Like Pepe the Frog being racist. That this is like, also, like, none of this stuff holds up to any logical inquiry. You understand? Like, Pepe the Frog, used for years, then it's been co-opted. How? We don't know. Hillary Clinton said so whatever. What she wants, she gets. And then this, think about this. If you believe this is a white supremacist dog whistle, right? If you do believe that, and some people do believe that, ignoring the fact that it came from a 4chan hoax, which is very openly reported. Basically, what it boils down to is we all have to pretend, because journalists' egos can't take, that they got pranked en masse. So let's assume you do. So what's the theory here? Like, what, I'm out, and I'm like across a room, and see you at the meeting, or you get to the white supremacist rally, and they're all going, hey, wait. None of that's happening. It's mental. Like, what do you think? None of that's real, you mad cunts. Like, that's just so stupid. So anyway, back to YouTube. It's been going on for years, this bullshit. And so they've been under tremendous pressure, and especially if you look at what's happening to Facebook right now, you're going to get an idea about where this is all leading to. Hey, Facebook, you're not deleting everything that says Joe Biden is the bestest, most popular president of all time, despite his popularity in the polls being as low as 36%, a level Donald Trump never hit at any point in his presidency. If you point that mere inconvenient fact out, you've been radicalized and you have to be removed from the platform. And Facebook, actually, are they a danger to society? Are they encouraging coups? Shouldn't you be censored by a big tech company of expressing opinions that maybe Joe Biden fucking sucks? Maybe the phrase "Let's go Brandon" should be classified as hate speech, guys. We're going to wait and see. And we're going to do all of that predicated on January the 6th, as I talked about in another video. If you haven't watched it, go watch my Facebook whistleblower stream. But let's just do this. So they've finally done it, guys. There will be no more radicalization on YouTube. You will now no longer be radicalized. 1 minute it won't be Joe Rogan going, holy shit, imagine being a gorilla on DMT, bro. Pull that shit up, Jim. You've ever seen this shit? Right. So you're not going to be that. And then 1 minute you're watching that, and then the next minute it's like, would you like to join the alt-right? You know, it's none of that now. That doesn't happen anymore. Thank God. Because that was happening all the motherfucking time. Right? Now, they fixed the recommendation system. This was last month. When YouTube recommendations are at their best, they connect billions of people around the world to content that uniquely inspires teachers and entertains. For me, that means diving into lectures, exploring the ethical questions facing technology today, or watching highlights from the University of Southern California's football games I remember seeing as a kid. For my oldest daughter, it was finding laughter and community with the Vlog Brothers. And for my oldest son, recommendations brought about a better understanding of linear algebra. It's a fucking bumping household, this. Linear algebra through animated explainers by 3 blue, 1 brown, with breaks to watch is KSI videos. I'm also going to add, there's no way any parent that's encouraging their kids to like watch algebra explainers on YouTube is going to let KSI slip through the net. But whatever, that's fine. As my family shows, there's an audience for almost every video. Almost every video. And the job of our recommendation system is to find that audience. Think about how hard it would be to navigate all of the books in a massive library without the help of librarians. I'm not going to go off on a tangent about how librarians actually do nothing. I'm not going to do that. We'll save that. Shelve that idea. I mean, I just... See, every time I've been in a library, I just go to the motherfucking shelf and find the motherfucking book. Or I go to them little things, you know, and use the Dewey Decimal System. You know what I mean? Like, librarians are taking the piss, in my opinion. Librarians must have one of the strongest unions alive, right? Because they don't do any... You don't do anything. You don't do anything. Listen, what are librarians known for? I'll tell you. You don't want to hear it. What are librarians known for? Right? You know. It's not for finding books. They are known for being librarians in the streets, but freaks in the sheets. Everybody knows it. They're all there with their head tied back in the glasses and yes, doing the little stamp. Yeah, do come back next week. And then as soon as they clock out at 5 o'clock or whenever the fuck the library's closed, they go fucking wild. You know, you've seen the videos. You've seen the videos. Like, that's all that's going on. Well, that's it. That's all librarians have. Anyway, I can find a book without a motherfucking librarian. Jesus Christ, it's not difficult. Recommendations drive a significant amount of the overall viewership on YouTube. Not if you don't get recommended, I can tell you that. Oh, one day I will have to screenshot my analytics page and show it to you. And I'm proud to see how it's become an integral part of everyone's YouTube experience. But all too often, recommendations are seen as a mysterious black box. We want these systems to be publicly understood. So let me explain how they work, how they've evolved, and why we've made delivering responsible recommendations our top priority now. Will not bore you with reading an explanation of something you already know. Although, interestingly enough, they don't talk about how, even though it was proved, and there was a video by, I think, Nerd City, you can go and watch this. They basically lie and go, oh, we created this algorithm and it got a mind of its own, it did this stuff. It's like, no, you do still manually curate the trending page. Don't, please, come on. Don't pretend. So here, look. How we personalize recommendations. To provide such custom curation, our recommendation system doesn't operate off of a recipe book of what to do. It's constantly evolving. It's alive, learning every day from over 80 billion pieces of information we call signals. And that's why providing more transparency isn't as simple as listing a formula for recommendations, but involves understanding all the data that feeds into our system. A number of signals build on each other to help inform our system about what you find satisfying. Clicks, watch time, survey responses, sharing, likes, and dislikes. But we learned back in 2011 that clicking on a video Oh, it says it clicks. It's clicking on a video. It explains some of the glossary here for the boomers. We learned back in 2011 that clicking on a video doesn't mean you actually watched it. So let's say you were searching for highlights from that year's Wimbledon match. You scroll through the page, you click on one of the videos, and it's got a thumbnail and title suggesting it shows footage of the match. But instead, it's a person in the bedroom talking about that match. You click on a video our system recommends in your up next panel, only to find another fan talking about that match. Again and again, you click through the videos until finally you're recommended a video with footage of the match that you want to watch. And that's why we added in watch time in 2012. And it explains here your watch time. That's literally how long you watch a video. Interestingly enough, as a creator, what fascinates me is I make content, right? This is the content now. It's not really making content, but, you know, it's what we call it. You know, it just is what it is. It's an old man talking shit into a webcam. That's it, basically. That's content, I suppose. Still better than 99% of streams on Twitch, though. Number 1811, never forget. So, I make videos that, on average, are pretty long. Because I talk a lot, and I go off on tangents. And people go, why won't he just get to the point? Why is he drinking in the video? I've even said to Griff, start putting jump cuts in. Hilariously, people were then gonna jump cuts in a Richard Lewis video. You can't win. Can't win. But anyway, I put videos out. And like, so for example, okay, let's say an episode of By the Numbers, 2.5 hours, right? And then you go into average watch time. And it's like 43 minutes. And by the way, sponsors are so jacked up on the idea of watch time these days, right? It's a really big metric if you want to make money. So this is a little spoiler for all you aspiring content creators out there, probably giving away some trade secrets. If you say to a sponsor, my average watch time on my videos is like 43 minutes, they go, what the fuck? You can hold a Zoomer's attention for 43 minutes on average. You must be Jesus on the Mount giving a sermon. Now, I realize I have just compared myself to Jesus there. It happens a lot, worryingly a lot, on this stream. Just roll with it, I think, at this point. I think we just lead into that at this point, don't we? But yes, much like Jesus, I can hold the attention of a crowd. And I've always been able to do that. It's always been a talent I've had. Now, it blows my mind. Like, who's the cunt who gets 43 minutes into an episode of BTN and goes, right, well, that's enough of that, you know? But obviously that's an average. And so the average is, that's huge. So watch time is a hugely important metric. Because when you consider that the average YouTuber will make like deliberate, like 10, 12-minute videos, like long enough so they get the Prime monetization, short enough so they don't have to put any effort in. And then when you look at the average watch time, it's like 2 minutes. It's like, what? They just literally go, okay, he's done the intro, and, oh, his first sentence gives his opinion. Well, that's me. It's like reading a headline, you know? You just go, well, don't need to read the article. Got the motherfucking headline, and away you go, you know? So, anyway. When we first incorporated watch time into recommendations, we saw an immediate 20% drop in views. But we believed that it was more important for us to deliver more value to viewers. Still, not all watch time is equal. Sometimes I've stayed up late watching random videos when I could have instead been learning a new language. Listen to this guy. Or refining my cooking skills through a tutorial. I do watch. Like, you want to talk about radicalization? I have watched every binging with Babish video. I'm never even going to cook. I'm lazy. But you recommend it to me every day, and it's always something, isn't it? It's always like, oh, mate, he's making that fucking big pasta dish from The Sopranos. Fucking hell. All right, then, go on then. And you watch that, and then it's like, oh, fucking hell. Now he's making the special patty from SpongeBob. Oh, God, I've got to... And before you know it, it's fucking 5 a.m. The birds are chirping. Fuck's sake. 9.5. I subbed to Binging with Babish, I think, when he had like 3,000 or 4,000 subs. When he literally first came in and did his first like 2 or 3 videos. 9.6 million followers now. Not jealous. Not envious. I'm bored. I like food. Whatever. We don't want viewers regretting the videos they spend time watching. and realized we needed to do even more to measure how much value you get from your time on YouTube. So they introduced survey response. And that's basically, as it explains here, we want to make sure that viewers are satisfied with the content they're watching, so we measure what we call valued watch time, the time spent watching a video that you consider valuable. We measure your valued watch time through user surveys that ask you to rate the video you've watched from 1 to 5 stars, giving us a metric to determine how satisfying you found the content. If you rate a video 1 to 2 stars, we ask why you give it a low rating. And if you rate it 4 or 5, we ask why it was inspirational or meaningful. So now this new data is sort of being pumped into it. And they go, not everyone fills out a survey. I don't think I've ever even had one, personally. But based on the responses we do get, we then train a machine learning model to predict potential survey responses for everyone. So, in other words, the people who respond to the survey dictate, essentially, what everyone else is going to think about it. And therefore, of course, when you've got, like, the little blind fanboys who are like, oh, 5 stars, love your videos, love you, miss you, legend. And they do that, right? Then obviously everyone's going to feel that way, and it gets pumped up in the recommendations. You ever noticed how those same videos just come up all the motherfucking time? You just see them and you go, why is this even... Like, listen, here's a weird one, right? Now, obviously, I used to be a beekeeper. I say obviously, it's not obvious, but I did. And, you know, I have talked about bees multiple times on stream. I can tell you anything. There's not a bee fact I don't know. And yet, you know... I know you get recommended this video too. Have you ever seen that video of the guy who has to destroy a hive of aggressive Africanized bees, or whatever they call them in America? You've seen that video where he has to destroy them because they're too aggressive. Yeah, there you go. There it is. How's that happening to you? I bet you've never been a beekeeper. I bet you don't think about bees at all. That video... It's recommended to me like every month. Do you remember the time he killed the bees? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I watched it. What more do you want of me? Recommended all the motherfucking time. And that's obviously because there's some sick fuck out there who like got stung as a kid. He got stung as a kid, like real traumatic. He was looking at ice cream. It was probably a wasp anyway, because they are bastards. And he's blamed bees, and he's seen that video of that guy destroying, just it literally uses the word destroying the time, destroying the bees, killing bees with poison. And he's watching it going, yeah, fucking take it, you fucking bee fuck, fucking hate you cunts, die bees, I'll teach you. And he's given it 5 stars when he's done that fucking survey. And now obviously we all are getting it like, oh, this is a 5-star video. It's like, he's a motherfucking killing bees. Like, it's not... This isn't content. Anyway, back to this. He goes on to explain likes and dislikes, which as we'll get to. You only need to know about one of them now. So, and then they say, now we must focus on responsible recommendations, i.e. killing bees. Clicks, views, watch time, user surveys, shares, likes and dislikes work great for driving recommendations for topics like music and entertainment. What most people come to YouTube to watch. But over the years, a growing number of viewers have come to YouTube for news and information. Ooh, I wonder where this is going. Whether it's the latest breaking news or complex scientific studies, COVID, these topics are where the quality of information and context matter most. Someone may report that they're very satisfied by videos that claim the Earth is flat. But that doesn't mean we want to recommend this type of low-quality content. By the way, for anyone who's worried, I have not contracted the cough. That was acting. Acting the whole time. That's why recommendations play such an important role in how we maintain a responsible platform. They connect viewers to high-quality information and minimize the chances they'll see problematic content, and they complement the work done by our robust community guidelines that define what is and isn't allowed on YouTube. We've used recommendations to limit low-quality content from being widely viewed since 2011. Have you really? It's so strange. Don't remember any of this even being a talking point back in the day. How bizarre. No, I trust you, YouTube. I'm sure that's definitely what was happening 10 years ago. Then we built classifiers to identify videos that were racy or violent and prevented them from being recommended. Then in 2015, interesting year. It's all so fucking obvious, isn't it? We noticed sensationalistic tabloid content was appearing on homepages, and we took steps to demote it. A year later, we started to predict the likelihood of a video to include minors in risky situations. Yes, that was the one I talked about earlier, and remove those from our recommendations. And in 2017, to ensure our recommended system was fair to marginalized communities, we began evaluating the machine learning that powers our system for fairness across protected groups, such as the LGBTQ plus community. Now, what's that referring to? Richard members. Do you remember? I remember. So what happened there was, you could be a hate group, and you could make a YouTube video, you know, why gay people are bad or whatever. And that, if they used the right words, wouldn't trigger any flags. But if you were doing, say, for example, you know, why gay people have it bad in society, why people, you know, my story of dealing with oppression or harassment, very often the word filters would catch those types of stories and suppress them, censor them, at best demonetize, at worst completely community strike them. And there was a lot of gay content creators that were like, why am I getting struck for using the word lesbian? And the YouTube algorithm only thought about it in titillating and salacious ways, not the fact that just lesbians exist and they're people. So that was what happened there. That's how fucked the YouTube algorithm was, by the way. So yes, in the chat, people are going, oh, this YouTube algorithm sounds pretty based. No, it's garbage. It was awful. Imagine the playing field you operate on, where it's like, here's a nice story about my lesbian experiences. Banned. Away that goes. Here's reasons why I thoroughly dislike woman-on-woman love. Acceptable. You know, it's fucking crazy how fucked up it was. But they fixed that. So they claim. The rise of misinformation in recent years. Remember, by the way, the media routinely lies, gets stories wrong. They put, you know, we're just finding out now that one of the key components of the Russiagate Steele dossier has been arrested and indicted for lying to the FBI, which was the predicate for the dossier in the first place. But when the mainstream media do it, it's okay. They're not radicalizing anyone with their misinformation. If you do it, if you say something, it doesn't even have to be misinformation. It's just, that's not so much misinformation as an inconvenient truth, and away you go. But the rise of misinformation in recent years led us to further expand the ways we use our recommendation system to include problematic misinformation and borderline content. That is content that comes close to, but doesn't quite violate our community guidelines. This is how twisted the media have got YouTube. H3H3 Productions, Joe Rogan, they were examples of borderline content. They don't break any rules, but we will suppress them. That again, it all came out. It was all video, you know, they proved it algorithmically. You would get Joe Rogan recommended in Canada, not so much in the US, or rather on the trending. When Joe Rogan had a popular guest on, it would trend in Canada, it wouldn't trend in the US. They will ban things and remove things like conspiracy theories. They won't recommend those. And they will also do the same for content that spreads misinformation, such as orange juice can cure cancer. Never seen that one. But also what they do is these classifications rely on human evaluators who assess the quality of information in each channel or video. These evaluators hail from around the world and are trained through a set of detailed, publicly available rating guidelines. We rely on certified experts, such as medical doctors, when content involves health information. To determine authoritativeness, evaluators answer a few key questions. Does the content deliver on its promise to achieve its goal? What kind of expertise is needed to achieve the video goal? What's the reputation of the speaker in the video? What's the main topic of the video? Is the content primarily meant to be satire? These answers and more determine how authoritative a video is. The higher the score, the more the video is promoted when it comes to news and informational content. To determine whether or not something is borderline, evaluators assess factors that include, but aren't limited to, whether the content is inaccurate, misleading, or deceptive, insensitive. I mean, all of my content's insensitive. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. Or intolerant. Never intolerant, though. I'm not a bigot. And harmful, or with the potential to cause harm. The results are combined to give a score of how likely the video contains harmful misinformation or is borderline. Any video classified borderline is demoted in recommendations. By the way, if you're borderline, you may as well be not borderline. there's no benefit. These human evaluations then train our system to model their decisions, and we now scale their assessments to all videos across YouTube. So let me translate that, right? YouTube come under tons of pressure to make your algorithms more transparent. How dare you recommend a video that says Hillary Clinton bad and Orange Man okay? How dare you? You're radicalizing people. 1 minute you're watching Ben Shapiro, the next minute you're watching a hate speech preacher. None of these things were true, but YouTube were under this tremendous pressure. And so every step of the way, including after the apocalypse, they bring in more and more levels of human interference. And listen, I don't know if you're familiar with the average employee of a California tech company. They have a viewpoint. And so they're evaluators who, remember, it's a medical expert that definitely evaluates all the medical stuff. All right, then, who's evaluating the political stuff? Who's evaluating whether something is or isn't satire? Keep in mind, you know, Count Dankula is now a convicted hate criminal for clear and obvious satire that, by the way, wouldn't have made anyone blink an eye even in 2014. Who's making these evaluations? And then, oh, what's that? The patterns the algorithm manifestly observes from these people who YouTube have deemed appropriate to assess content. We'll just extrapolate that and apply that to every video. The other day, and this is sort of linked, I imagine. The other day, I went into my back end on my YouTube channel. That sounds really off. I went into my own back end, and it was great. But then, after that, I went to look at the analytics on my YouTube channel and rewind. The process I have to go through to put a video out for you is I create the video, I upload the video is instantly demonetized. Why? I guess I'm on the naughty list. I then have to manually appeal. On appeal, it's usually approved as being monetized. It gets the green $sign. And I put it out, and then you click on it, and you see an ad, maybe not if you use ad block, and I get a penny for every one of you that do that. And it's great, right? That's the system. And that's how it's worked forever. It also got a bit weird lately, because now, when you upload a video, and it demonetizes it, and you appeal, it says to me, it goes, are you sure you want to appeal this? Because you've been wrong in the past. Like, almost never, motherfuckers. You're the ones that are wrong. You're the ones that demonetize my video, and then I click a button, and then a day later, it's green. So you got it wrong, not me. But no, that's what it says. So we do the process, we do it. But anyway, keep in mind, when I click that button, a human is meant to look at it and go, yep, this video is fine. Meets all of our standards. It's just Richard Lewis and Thorin talking about Counter-Strike. It's all good. And it goes out and we get money. I went back. Loads of my videos were demonetized for inappropriate content for advertisers. And let me just tell you, Moses, foul-mouthed Moses on the Richard Lewis show, that video was demonetized. So I had to appeal. That's just an idea of how asinine it is. And so I had to appeal all of the videos again after a human had said they were okay. And this time, about 25% of them were held up as not being okay, even though someone who worked for YouTube had already said they were okay. It's not, there's no rules here anymore. It's gibberish. That just happened recently. It's like, you know, Just 25% of my content's not so. The GG Easy video. You remember that stream? I was just talking about how people get upset about GG Easy and it's ridiculous. They demonetized it. They said it was inappropriate for advertisers. I'll tell you, if you had a company called GG Easy, it would be very appropriate for you. Yeah. Yeah, GG Easy triggered the YouTube algorithm. It's that offensive a phrase. They took my money away. It's gone. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And I don't, and by the way, when a video, and they say this isn't true, 100% it's true. They say when your video gets demonetized, it doesn't affect it if it's recommended. And it fucking does. No one will ever see the masterpiece that is the GG Easy video now. Anyway, that was the recommendation system. They have done what they have to do to sort of have the plausible. No, we're not radicalizing it. You never were. You never were. You could have just said that. We're not radicalizing people. Shut the fuck up. The media are delusional. Clinton lost. Deal with it. Now, here's the other thing you might have noticed. YouTube, they've taken the you out of YouTube. Everybody knows that now, right? They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a... yeah. Hey, I'm just trying to make videos and I'm a blogger and this is fun. They don't give a fuck about you. You can eat shit. What they care about is the big corporations and the news outlets and the celebrities. This is pretty much their focus. In fact, again, just by show of hands in the chat, how many of you, as soon as you go on YouTube, it's like, wait, none of my favorite creators are actually recommended in this. I don't want to see Trevor Noah do a shit monologue. Yeah? It's everyone, right? Like, when was the last time you looked at your YouTube front page and thought, that is me right there? It's garbage. I don't care what fucking Boris Johnson said to the BBC. I don't care what some late night wanker like Jimmy definitely didn't do blackface Kimmel has to say about why Trump is. But I don't care. I don't want to see Stephen Colbert doing crocodile motherfucking tears, a phrase used ad nauseum during the Rittenhouse trial. I don't care about any of this. I click the X. Why am I still being recommended this? And you know why? Money. You know why? You know why? The trending tab is full of this fucking vacuous garbage over actual, genuine, you know, interesting creators. It's why you get like that woman who lived in a caravan who just like 10 million followers overnight. This is completely legitimate. Where here's all these endorsement deals and gone. What was that about? What was that about? It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's now become another vector for the mainstream to, you know, they know you're not watching TV. They know you're cutting cables. They know you're consuming alternatives. So what do? They fucking barge their way into the alternatives. And they say, we're here now. Like the fucking Kool-Aid jug bursting through the wall. Oh, yeah. Time for more state media propaganda, kids. Like, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Can I just watch your fucking funny video? Can I just listen to my fucking Good Morning Moon or whatever the fuck it's called, ASMR? Can I just have that? Can I have this? This little space away from the noise and the nonsense and the corporate advertising. Can I have that? You can't have that. YouTube won't let you have that anymore. But here's something you can do and something you have done. Not anymore. You can dislike it. You're allowed as a peon and a pleb to dislike their bullshit. If it's recommended to you and you click on it, you can give it a thumbs down. And you can. And you do. Or you did. What would happen? Stephen Colbert. And on January the 6th, democracy died. Again, for the millionth fucking time. Stop it. You're a DNC operative. You've literally campaigned for people. Shut the fuck up. You've literally done fundraisers, you cunt. Shut the fuck up. You could... And guess what we were doing? We'd go, this is fucking wiggity whack. Have the old fucking Roman Emperor thumbs down. Fuck you. And what's also interesting is dislikes were so prominent and so kind of, observed by external sources, because there's no getting away from the power of the YouTube platform, that it was news when videos started to get lots of dislikes. Remember, of course, the YouTube Rewind, most dislikes in history. Why? Because they included all their big corporate dick-sucking friends, and not a single endemic creator throws out PewDiePie when he had the most subscribers at the fucking time. Yeah? It made news, and it changed things. YouTube had to come out and release a statement. That simple act of a thumbs down, just saying, I don't like this. And then, it wasn't just YouTube, something you do. You do it to all that corporate bullshit I'm talking about. You do it to news channels. People that are telling you shit. Oh, well, let's lock down forever. Right? No, not a fan. Right? You can say what you think about things. And then on top of that, right, and this was the best for me, the constant drivel put out from this current White House administration. Cackling Kamala and senile Joe just talking bollocks constantly. And people went, yep, this is nonsense. And the White House official videos, overwhelmingly, the dislike ratio was insane. It was like 100 to 1 every time. Every time. People were just like, fuck this. Fuck these. And listen, in a world where your right to peacefully assemble and peacefully protest is being eroded by almost every fucking global government, which is another reason, by the way, some of these, mandates are really sneaky and insidious. I suggest you go and look at the UK one, where it's like, by the way, if someone's mentally ill, we can just lock them up in an asylum just for the duration of COVID without any sort of, due process or anything, or familial interference. It's fucking, it's a word that gets thrown around a lot. It's dystopian as fuck. Right? So in a world where your right to assemble and peacefully protest these things is sort of being constantly chipped away, isn't it important that you at least have a say in a digital space? That you at least get to fucking say, and I don't like this. Can you do that? YouTube says you can't. YouTube says that's wrong. YouTube says that's bad. This metric they themselves used to train their algorithm that makes them so much money is because they don't have to employ humans, which they sort of do, but they're only doing it to train the algorithm a little bit more just to appease the mainstream media, right? They removed the dislikes. They took them away. They didn't take them away when my video was getting disliked. By the way, I love it. I take it on the chin all the time. They didn't take away the dislikes when the Rocket League Zoomers came for me. And I was cowering for my life. I was terrified, I was, of the Rocket League Zoomers when they disliked my video. That got demonetized anyway because of an aggressive use of the song Spanish Flea. They didn't take it away then. I was being harassed. I was being oppressed. And they didn't take it away. No, they take it away after a sustained pushback against mainstream media, politicians, and corporations. And YouTube are like, no, we are for the people, but you are disliking too much of you dislike the corporate agenda. So, we're going to have to do something about that. Because Joe Biden's feelings, like that cunt even knows where he is half the time. He's a fucking nana, isn't he? Right? Joe Biden's feelings are hurt. So, Steve Colbert's feelings might be hurt. NBC, ABC, they work hard to deliver their corporate-owned news bullshit. You're hurting their feelings. So they took it away. Listen to the I almost want to watch the video. Shall I pour a scotch and watch the video? It's only short. It's like 3 minutes, I remember. Visual medium.
Hey folks, you may have seen a while back that YouTube announced it was experimenting with making disc.
Can I just point out as one of the last videos to get ratio? I mean, it's an appropriate fucking send-off, right?
Dislike counts private to only the creator of the video. Now, if you're like me, you were surprised by that. I mean, I've always thought seeing the number of dislikes on a video helps us know as viewers if it's a good video or not, if it's a helpful tutorial or not.
Yes. Yeah, incredibly. Being able to look at something and, oh, an overwhelming amount of people have disliked this, and the top comment is scam, do not click. That's really fucking helpful on a platform that has virtually no oversight to the millions of videos that are uploaded every week. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
If what a creator is saying in their video is generally agreed with or not.
Irrelevant.
Unfortunately, research teams at YouTube have
not the
found
research
there's
teams.
Whole other use for disliking a video.
What is it?
I had never experienced as a creator, and you may not have either. Apparently, groups of viewers are targeting a video's dislike button to drive up the count, turning it into something like a game with a visible scoreboard. And it's usually just because they don't like the creator or what they stand for.
Well, this is outrage. I didn't even know. You mean some people inappropriately use the dislike button to say, I don't dislike the content, I dislike the person behind the content? Well, had I known, if only me, Richard Lewis, beloved esports Jesus, if only I'd known that sometimes social media is used in an unfair way.
That's a big problem when half of YouTube's mission is to give everyone a voice.
Doesn't devoice them.
So earlier in 2021, YouTube experimented with making the public dislike count private to see if it would help reduce these coordinated dislike attacks across the platform. And after analysis, they did see a reduction. So the update from YouTube is that the dislike button is staying, but the dislike counts will now be private. You can still dislike videos, and that action will be used to tune your own recommendations, but you won't be able to see the dislike count. Only the creator can find it on the back end if they want. Now, a few common questions we saw from the initial experiment. First, without a public dislike count, how can viewers tell if a video is worth watching? Again, I kind of had this question too, but it turns out that while viewers might use the dislike count to give them a sense of a video's worth, when the teams looked at the data across millions of viewers and videos in the experiment, they didn't see a noticeable difference in viewership, regardless of whether they could see the dislike count or not. In other words, it didn't really matter if a video had a lot of dislikes or not, they still watched. Next.
Now, remember, by the way, listen, remember what they said in the blog that I read to you, because there is a method to my madness, and I know there'll be people when this goes to YouTube. He just drinks on stream all the time, and he just gets drunk, and he's out of control. Remember what they said in the blog that I read to you? Where they said, actually, you know, clicking or watching the video isn't even a particularly good metric. Not one we really measure, because you might accidentally click on a video and then click off a video. You might go endlessly looking for those Wimbledon highlights. And yet here, what they're saying is, oh, you click on the video anyway, regardless of the dislikes, so we may as well fuck dislikes. Then you said that wasn't important! For fuck's sake.
Common question. If creators can still see the dislike count on the back end, how's that any different? They can see it if they look for it inside Studio Analytics under the Engagement tab. But overall, it's much less likely to cause stress and embarrassment if the count isn't visible to the public.
Right. Since when? Like, and I mean when? Since when has it been important for platforms to protect people putting out their public opinions, right, to protect them from embarrassment? Are you fucking serious? Are you serious? This is the rule on Twitter, writ large on other platforms. The rule on Twitter is somebody, even though Twitter's a public platform, right, and everything you say on Twitter is viewable by anyone else on Twitter, it's not just your followers, it's public. It's one of the biggest misunderstandings on Twitter. People are like, no, but I just tweet to my follower. No, if you want to only tweet to your followers, go private. It's very simple. Even a boomer like me can figure this out. But the rule is, if they tweet something like Richard Lewis is a cunt, I wouldn't even object to that. Richard Lewis is a hack fraud, right? And then I reply to them and go, how dare you call me a hack fraud? What is the basis for this? They go, help, help, help! I'm being dogpiled, help! He's got more followers than me. Yes, that's because I'm the celebrity you're talking about. Yeah, I do have more followers than you. I have earned those followers by producing work of value. It's not like I am just stronger than you and I'm beating you up. You are publicly saying something about me and I'm addressing it. But that is a rule on Twitter. That is a rule on Twitter, that it is some sort of cyberbullying or whatever, you know. And now YouTube is saying, we can't let you dislike people's opinions. They might feel embarrassed by... If their opinions are fucking shit, they should feel embarrassed. And, by the way, if everyone else in the world is wrong, a problem I run into quite frequently, I find, and you're the only one who's right, you shouldn't give a fuck about those dislikes. Time will prove you correct, as it does over and over and over again. Right? That's just reality. Like, what's going on? I don't want my platforms to protect me from being embarrassed. Same platforms, by the way, that you'll notice, you know, they don't put any protections in. So let's say someone's doing a gym stream and there's a boob slip, right? They don't stop, you know, Reddit bots from instantly uploading the clip. They don't stop Streamable from hosting, you know, they don't do any of that. That would certainly spare people embarrassment. But no, those pesky dislikes.
And one more common question, is this because YouTube Rewind got lots of dislikes? No, although there are some teams internally who have learned the hard way what it feels like to get lots of dislikes. Now, this again is about protecting all creators and making sure they have a chance to succeed and feel safe in doing so. All right, so that's the update. I hope it doesn't cause too much frustration. Honestly, I think you're going to get used to it pretty quickly, and keep in mind other platforms don't even have a dislike button. So
let's all be the same. I'm a big fan of that. Let's all be the same. Let's all have one rule for all platforms to rule them all. What absolute nonsense. So anyway, that was their official version in the video. And obviously, people strongly suspect that it's been brought in to sort of protect, you know, the big corporate mainstream media types that have come onto the platform. They've been the biggest, I don't want to use the word victim, right? But, you know, they've been the biggest recipients of the downvotes. And so, this is great. There is a YouTube co-founder called Jawed Karim. And he went back and he edited the first ever video he uploaded to the platform he created. The video being entitled, I think it's Me at the Zoo. Me at the Zoo. This is what he, you know, the co-founder of YouTube had to say about it. He said, I was watching Matt Koval's announcement about the removal of dislikes, is what we just saw. I thought something was off. The spoken words did not match the eyes. The video reminded me of an interview Admiral Jeremiah Denton gave in 1966. I have never seen a less enthusiastic, more reluctant announcement of something that is supposed to be great. Calling the removal of dislikes a good thing for creators cannot be done without conflict by someone holding the title of YouTube's creator liaison. We know this because there exists not a single YouTube creator who thinks removing dislikes is a good idea for YouTube or for creators. And interestingly enough, at a time when everyone's complaining about, oh no, I'm being bullied and harassed on the platform, I don't know if I'm in an echo chamber. I'm sure many people will say I am. I haven't seen any creators go, this is a step in the right direction. I actually think a lot of creators as well, they're so obsessed with popularity, they actually welcome knowing how disliked something is, and sort of even taking a little bit of public heat for it because you get to autocorrect. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of people complain about this. Why would YouTube make this universally disliked change? There is a reason, but it's not a good one. and not one that will publicly be disclosed. Instead, there will be references to various studies that apparently contradict the common sense of every YouTuber. The ability to easily and quickly identify bad content is an essential feature of a user-generated content platform. Why? Because not all user-generated content is good. It can't be. In fact, most of it is not good. And that's okay. The idea was never that all content is good. The idea was, however, that among the flood of content, there are great creations waiting to be exposed. And for that to happen, the stuff that's not great has to fall by the side as quickly as possible. The process works, and there's a name for it. The wisdom of crowds. The process breaks when the platform interferes with it. Then the platform invariably declines. Does YouTube want to become a place where everything is mediocre? Because nothing can be great if nothing is bad. In business, there's only one thing more important than make it better, and that's don't fuck it up. And so, he's right, isn't he? He's nailed it. It's almost like a founder of YouTube might know a thing or two about sort of direction YouTube should be headed in. But to be fair, what YouTube users have been doing is the top comment on a bad video is the word dislike, and you upvote it. You like the comment. That's how they've got around it. They beat the system. They've beat the system. So if you go to a video, and let's see, I had some examples, but I don't know if they're in my tabs or whatever. There are a number of like heavily disliked videos where someone's going like, dislike this. And people are like, yeah. And they're upvoting that. So the top comment on a shit video will have thousands of likes. And the comment will say, you know, fuck this, I dislike this shit. So, yes. Now, unfortunately, that might be encouraging the Zoomers with their ratio. And they don't even know what ratio means or where it comes from because it originated on Twitter and they think it originated on fucking TikTok or something. But the reality is, they'll probably end up turning off comments eventually. I think that's where this road we're headed down. I think that's where it ends because, you know, what could be worse than a comment? You know, like a dislike is a vague, I didn't like what you did. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't like what you did because you're fat, bald, old, missing. Oh, wait, whoa. You're poking your fingers in too many fucking wounds there, my friend. Like, just stick to the thumb. It would actually make more sense to ban the comment. And a fraud, yeah, you're right. You've got me. A bald fraud. So, unfortunately, YouTube isn't a compromised platform, guys. It's gone. It's gone. It's fallen by the wayside like so many other great things. Bye.